My name is JP Craddock, and I will be your host this evening. Of course, I am joined by my fellow alpha males. First up, we have William Coleman. What's up, Coleman? Say hey to our peeps.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing tonight? What's happening with you, JP?
I'm good. I'm good. Next up, we
Good.
have LV. What's up, LV?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Had a great weekend and a great week since I last seen you all, and just happy to see you again.
All right. And last but not least, we got John E. Quick. Mr.
Yes,
Quick.
sir. Yes, sir. How are you doing? I'm doing great. Great week. I'm looking forward to this show and hanging with you brothers.
All right. All right. Coming up on the show today, we have today's perspective, which is why do I keep ending up in unhealthy relationships and how do I break the cycle? It's always the same person, only with a different name and a different face. So we're going to get to that in a bit after a little segment that we like to call Hold Up. Coleman, what's going on? Coleman, what's going on?
Just
Come
today's
on, folks,
perspective
what's
cracks
going
me
on?
up. Today's perspective cracks me up.
Oh.
Dude.
Listen, I can't wait to hear what y'all say. I got a feeling that y'all have some good advice on people breaking those patterns of ending up in these unhealthy relationships. Okay, so we're going to get to that in a little bit, but first we got a little segment that we like to call the good, the bad, and the ridiculous. All right, today's story. There's a Texas woman by the name of Augustine Gladney who threw her boyfriend's mother's ashes into Lake Worth after he allegedly cheated on her. Threw the woman's ashes into the lake. She notified him via text message. Now, this occurred 2 years ago, but she was only recently arrested because it was taking a while to gather enough evidence to charge her with it. So it took them 2 years. This is so not funny. She threw his mother's ashes into the lake. Okay, so it took her a couple of years to basically confess via text message, and as a result, she has been charged with abuse of a corpse and faces up to a year in prison and a $4,000 fine. That's it. You can throw somebody's dead mother into the lake and you face up to a year and $4,000 in fines. Okay, good, bad, or ridiculous, Coleman, because clearly you got something to say about this.
Well, first of all, I blame old girl because if you don't catch me on camera, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? The wind, so the evidence was gone. Mama floating. No, no way to get her.
He didn't have to put it like that.
Listen, she put mama in the wind. So for me, I think this is ridiculously understandable. Yeah. You know what? And I'll say this up front. I'm not built to be cheated on. Right. So the first time that I got for real cheated on, it wasn't really cheated on because we had already broke up because I had cheated on her. But anyway, that's irregardless. So yeah, back in the day I was a serial cheater. But when I found out she had done to me, bruh, I was riding around town singing New Edition. Is this the end? I'm in the daytime with a flashlight looking in bushes. I hope I find you. You know what I'm saying? Because when you think that you love somebody, regardless of what you've done to them, when you find out they got at you, it'll make you do some stuff that you never thought. If somebody had told me that, a woman could do something to me and had me riding around, singing songs and, crying, I'd have been like, man, please, I'm that kind of dude. But listen, I was riding around. I wasn't crying, but I was hot. And I was listening to that, again, New Edition. Is this the end? Listen, I was ready to fight somebody. So that type of emotion, and I'm not condoning putting mama in the wind, but I can tell you now, if I had caught Zeke mama up on the cabinet, Zeke mama would have been in the wind. I can tell y'all that now. Her mama would have been floating.
Okay.
So I don't condone putting mama in the wind, but mama would have been in the wind, but I wouldn't have got no time because I'd have never confessed to.
Let me say this. Terms like put mama in the wind and mama's floating. You do it too damn much.
I mean, if I put her in the lake, I could say I'd have drowned mama, but really putting mama in the wind sounds a lot better to me.
Oh my Lord.
Mama would have been in the wind.
Okay. LV, what are your thoughts? Is this good, bad, or ridiculous that
Mama had nothing to do with it?
That mama's in the wind and floating?
Well, I'm gonna say it's bad, and this is my reason. Y'all know how I feel about the deceased. I think we ought to respect them a little bit more than how some people do. And we won't go into the past, JP. I seen that look on your face, but I'm just saying for them.
But you're consistent about that. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I'm true to what I say, man. I say what I mean. I mean what I say. I mean, his dead mama didn't have nothing to do. Hold on. His dead mama didn't have nothing to do with him cheating. So for you to want to take it out and throw her ash, and the thing is, she live up. That was over here by me. That Lake D. That's the lake over here by me, bro. Lake Worth. In the end, the only reason why she got caught is due to the TikTok video, which is not when it happened. Somebody knew what went down and reenacted it.
Yeah.
And that's
after
why
that she sent the text though.
And that's why it's bad for some. Once again, let's respect the dead. If you want to do your own skit and this shit ain't real, that's cool. But damn well that girl threw that boy mom in the water, and then she lied to him when the shit came up missing at home. She was like, I don't know. But see, he overheard her
JP over here kicking over a tomb. JP kicking over tombstones. But he told me I can't do somebody bottom of the weed.
No!
That's crazy.
No!
You stomping on the dead people, kicking their headstone over.
This Johnson ain't shit. This Johnson ain't shit.
She didn't throw his ashes in the wind. As you said, LV, his mama did not do nothing to her.
She had nothing to do with that.
She gave birth. Mama gave birth.
His mama didn't make him cheat. She did.
Hey, maybe she thought it was in the DNA from mama. I don't know. But hell, I just think it's bad. Because morally,
this is one thing I learned. Yeah. This is one thing I learned. And I know, and John, I hate to step on your toes again, but this is one thing I learned in my endeavors of messing with women as far as doing the wrong thing. Because I told you I was a serial cheater back in the day, but like JP, I gave myself therapy, so I don't do that no more. One thing that I found though, when we cheat on women, or if a woman cheats on, we'll fight the dude, we'll do stupid stuff like that. Women do soul snatching stuff. You know what I mean? They will go cheat on you, but they won't like cheat with, just some random dude. They cheat with your friends. They'll cheat with multiple friends. Because that was my experience. They will cheat with multiple people, It's like if I didn't snatch your soul the first time, I'm gonna get you the second time. And if that didn't get you, I'm gonna get you this third or this fourth time. You know what I mean? So again, I don't condone putting somebody mom in the wind. But hearing that she did this in behind being cheated on does not surprise me because, again, just based on my experience, when women get you back to get even, they get you back to cripple you. They putting you on your knees. Again, having you riding around town singing New Edition. Johnny Quick, I'm sorry for taking your time, bro.
But basically, you saying like the whole thing was like with OJ. You know what I'm saying? You don't agree with why he did what he did, but you understand, and that's what you're saying about her.
Yeah,
you don't totally agree, but you understand.
I never said that. I never said put on the gloves, bro. I never said put on the gloves.
Please tell me y'all not about to support no OJ.
I didn't say put on the gloves.
I said understanding and support.
I did not say put on the gloves.
That's a different debate. That's a different debate.
No, we are not in support of any aspect of what the hell OJ did.
Understanding, not.
I don't understand why OJ did what he did.
And we don't know OJ did it.
Yes, we do.
You,
he wrote he put it in the book. He put it in the book.
He would do it.
Johnny Quick, we bad ridiculous on Ashes in the wind and
in the wind. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm gonna come from it this way. It's really bad and ridiculous at the same time. Recently, I lost my cousin, and we did a burial at sea where we it was a lake, and we cast him off into the water. And we didn't tell everybody where it was because you don't want people to come back disturbing the dead. And that's something you have to look at. The ashes is where he had his mother, and that's kind of really disturbing the peace of the dead. You don't know if whatever your beliefs are, it could be the spirit, it could be whatever. If that's where the thing, because see, for me, and my family know I had jokes. I was driving around with my cousin's ashes in the car. And the joke I had was like, am I a hearse now? But the thing is, I limited that because I didn't bring it in the house because I'm like, I don't know what spirit is with this and different things like that. And so, I'm like, you know what? I'm playing safe.
Somebody else believes in the paranormal now.
Well, no, I'm not going to chance things. I'm not going to chance things. But the reason why I say it's ridiculous also is you also have karma, and as you do something else to someone, it could come back to you tenfold. And I wouldn't want that to come back on me, whatever form that may take. Yes, you can people and they cheat on you, and you have to know how to control your emotions and your energy. Oh yeah, it hurt because see, I'm an advocate. I'm not gonna go and destroy your property because eventually I'm gonna have to pay for it, or I'm gonna have to go to jail. And I like my freedom and I like my money. And so I'm a little bit different when it comes to destroying other people's property, throwing their mamas in the wind, or casting them off at sea and telling them to go sailing. I'm a little bit different than everyone. So it's kind of bad and ridiculous because I don't want that spirit to come back on me.
All right. Well, I thought this was bad, and bad is an understatement for what this was. But those are our options: good, bad, or ridiculous. I thought it was bad. It's almost, this is a level of evil to cast someone's mother into the lake. I'm not saying that she's sociopathic. I'm just saying that was really vindictive. Now, something that Coleman that you mentioned is that women can sometimes, they're going to take it to a level where they kind of rip your heart out. And it's interesting to hear you say that because this week I was meeting with a couple, and one of the things that the husband said is, when she gets mad at me, it doesn't matter if I'm sincerely apologetic, I am saying I'm never going to do it again. She does not find peace with the situation until she has gotten revenge against me. And she gets the biggest, worst revenge that she can come up with. The woman said, yeah, that's right. I'm not at peace until I get revenge against him for what he did. Then I can move on. And so I thought it was odd to hear a woman say that, because I am not accustomed to hearing women say, yes, I'm very vengeful and I'm gonna get him back. So that's the first thing I thought about, Coleman, when you said that, is like, okay, yeah, there's some truth to that. So, but what she did, I thought that was foul and evil. There's another aspect of this to take a look at, is when it comes to ashes, I have a problem with people not making better plans for their ashes, first thing. Okay. Because I'm not a cremating kind of guy. My people are not doing
you
that.
Believe in ghosts.
But, and obviously Johnny Quick does too. Okay.
No,
because he didn't take the ashes in his house. That spirit is not in those ashes, by the way.
With the ashes.
Okay, that spirit is not in those ashes, by the way. Our body is just a shell. But here's my point. When people pass away and they leave their ashes to a loved one, what they fail to think about is that when that loved one gets old and passes away, they may leave your ashes to their kid. Okay, so now your ashes have gone from your son to your grandchild. But because they are in existence forever, at some point, some family member is going to have your ashes who never met you. And that's when things get a little careless. I am speaking from family experience, because one of my aunt's ashes were somehow misplaced decades ago, and we never found it. We have never found them. And
what's
so
your aunt's name?
What does that have to do with it? I'm not saying her.
Because I want to be able to address her by name when we say she lost.
I'm not saying her name.
We can't find Gertrude.
My point.
We can't find Gertrude. Where Gertrude at?
I'm trying to respect your aunt. I'm trying to respect your aunt, because see, somebody could actually replace those ashes and you'll never know.
The person who lost the ashes is not the person who my aunt left arranged for her ashes to be with. That's my point. After a while, these ashes get passed from generation to generation to generation, and they end up lost, floating in the wind. You don't. Here's my request for people. For our people out there who are watching and listening
for the ashes.
No, not a wheel, because your asses be delayed for some years, and they can't get rid of your ashes if you put it in the wheel, and that wheel's contested.
No, here's my suggestion.
John said your ass would be in probate.
This is what people need to do. To all our people out there who are watching this show,
your ass is sitting in court.
If you get cremated, please make arrangements for the finality of your ashes. Don't just leave your ashes to family members and expect them to pass them down for the next 200 or 300 years. Make arrangements.
In the will.
No, don't put it in the wheel.
They need to be disposed.
Junior get them. When Junior died, then I want to take. Like my ashes, I don't have no Junior, but after whoever is supposed to get it when they gone, because I want to be cremated. I want my ashes spread out over Arrowhead. on when they like when the jets go over, let my ashes float off into the grass, man. And then we
Make
go out there and kick
arrangements.
somebody's ass.
But yeah,
I'm
LV,
gonna be
that's
grabbing ankles, D. That offense ain't gonna get no I'm gonna be grabbing ankles.
okay.
I'd be mad as hell
But
if I'm at the game and Laverio land on my head. I just said I'd be mad as
please tell me it doesn't have to be a full stadium because that's unpleasant.
hell.
Don't nobody want Laverio landing on them during the
They
game.
ain't gonna know though. They ain't gonna know.
Where
Oh,
is this ashes
They
coming?
ain't
You know what
gonna
I'm saying?
know.
Laverio gonna be all around Kansas City.
okay.
He gonna be at
Let me
everybody else.
clarify
That's what I'm
real
saying.
quick.
I'm everywhere.
Let me clarify. When I said that I'm encouraging people to make arrangements for their ashes and the proper disposal of them or dissemination of them, I'm not suggesting that they be dumped on a crowd full of people at a damn football game because that's not
Okay, yeah,
appropriate.
okay, not at the game, but hey, they gotta fertilize. Put me in the fertilizer on the field. How about that?
All right,
On the
y'all.
50-yard line.
Let's
And
get
then,
to
and then, and
today's
then I'll spread, and
perspective.
then I'll just spread through the rest of the grass so I can grab them ankles so we can win that game.
Oh my
Straight
goodness.
up.
Okay, let's get to today's perspective. We do talk about ashes for today. Today's perspective, why do I keep ending up in unhealthy relationships and how do I break the cycle? It's always the same person, only with a different name and a different face. All right, Johnny Quick, what's your thoughts and perspective on that? Can you help people break the cycle?
He is the cycle.
Ah!
Oh, here you go.
Oh,
You don't want to keep in and
Yeah.
out with. Get that grown man experience.
Is he Johnny Quick? Is Tobin saying that you are in that cycle?
oh
I'm
shit.
not I'm the reason for the cycle, if anything.
Straight up.
But
He is the cycle.
but as one of our listeners will get a kick out of this, I am not the toxic person in this relationship. You couldn't break
He sending subliminal to somebody, boy. Woo.
Right.
that.
It was you.
We need for
uh,
her to hit us up in the comments.
Mhm.
but anyway, you can break the cycle. You just have to be willing to break the cycle, and that's the key there. Some people are not willing because you look at people who have a type, and then when they try to find something different, it usually ends up back with the type. And so when you look at your preference and things you want, you have to recognize what are your triggers. You have to recognize what are the things that are going to put you in an abusive uh, cycle. Because, like for instance, one of the kids I mentor some years back, the girlfriends that he usually ended up with were pretty much girlfriends that reminded him of his mother. He didn't recognize that, and even one of his last girlfriends kind of looked similar to her. And so, and it was an abusive type of relationship with these girls because they just took advantage of him. They were very abusive towards him, but he couldn't break that cycle. And until you're able to again realize what your triggers are, what your types are, it's going to be hard to break that abusive relationship until you're willing to say, you know what, I don't want this for myself or anything.
Okay. LV, what's your
Um,
perspective on this?
I mean, I don't know if it was the male or female that presented the question, but that goes, both ways because I can speak from personal experiences from a conversation that I had with my sister, and I was complaining about my second wife to my sister on something. And then I told her, I said, I just realized, she's just like my first wife. I just realized they're really the same person. I just chose the younger version of the from the first wife. And my sister said, well, fool, if you pick the same thing, you're gonna have the same damn problems. And that's what we, as when we're in relationships, we see what we may like physically or whatever, and we still go after that. And you really can't blame me for it because you like what you like, but you have to recognize the red flags when they come up. And that's how you break the cycle. If you don't recognize those red flags, because they are all similar, because I believe you stated, they said, it's the same person in the end, it's just a different face. It's something that attracted you to that person. You're attracted to some characteristics that those people possess. Not all people with those characteristics may turn bad like that with you, but that's for you to address. Maybe that person is somebody that's a work in progress, and if it's not really brought to their attention, they won't stop what they're doing. And then again, they may not give a damn, and that's when you move on, and then you don't let it go on and then get worse. That's how I look at it, because I'm guilty. I've been guilty of it, and I've recently the way to like change that, because I a good close friend of mine that I talk to a lot always kind of kids me. He tells me, he said, you sure got a type. Anytime, I let him know about somebody I've met, he's like, yep, you got a type. And I was like, yeah, I do. But I'm changing that a little bit too, because I'm exploring options. And that's what's important. Sometimes you need to go outside of your comfort zone on the type of people that you're normally attracted to. Because if maybe somebody, is attracted to you, that you'd be like, no, that ain't really my speed. Maybe that's the direction you might need to turn to give an opportunity. You never know what may happen.
Okay. Okay. Coleman, what's your perspective on this?
Math. What is the common denominator? It ain't that you pick the same person in a different face. You the same person. So if you bring in the same thing to the table, you're gonna start, you're gonna continue to get the same result. So I honestly believe that we get lessons as we go through life, right? And if the Lord provides you with a lesson and you don't get it, he says, oh, I need to turn up this heat. I need to intensify this a little bit to help them understand what I'm trying to teach them. And so the next one gets a little bit worse, and the heat keeps escalating as long as you don't get that lesson. It is not up to other people to make changes or be different. It is up to you. So if you're the common denominator in all these relationships, you have to look at not only who are you choosing, but what are you bringing, right? And if you bring something different to the table, get something different from a result standpoint. 9 times 9 is 81. It's going to be 81 every time. But if you say 9 times 10, now you get a different answer. So if you don't change, if you don't do something different, if you keep the denominator the same yourself, if you don't grow, if you don't learn that these lessons are going to continue to intensify with every interaction that you have, you're going to get the same result.
Right. Okay. I chose this question because over the years, this is a question that comes up in therapy all the time. And I like that you mentioned, LV, you didn't know if it was from a man or a woman. I get this question from both men and women. This is something that men experience as well as women. Now, in therapy, I have had this question in some extreme scenarios. And by extreme, I mean abusive relationships. I have had the family court, for example, refer a woman to me who her children had been sexually molested by not one of her boyfriends, but two of her previous boyfriends. And so, in order for her to get her kids out of foster care, the family court and social services required her to figure out, how is it that you keep dating sex offenders? how is it that you keep ending up with these men who abuse your kids? I also get this a lot in domestic violence cases. And as I said before, not just from my female victims of domestic violence, but from my male victims of domestic violence. And what people don't realize is that there are a lot more male victims of domestic violence than what people realize. But all of these people are caught in that cycle of ending up with the same type of person. And so when y'all talk about type, because Johnny Quick and LV, y'all both talked about, we all have our type. And so when a person asks me, how do I keep ending up with this person? That is where we start, is with their type. And here's something to think about when it comes to dating is when you date someone, you're really only getting a small percentage of some of their traits. And so what you have to do is think about, okay, this trait that I'm attracted to, what does it look like times 10? Because that's probably what I'm going to end up with later. And so a lot of times when I have, for example, when I have a woman who says that, she loves it, that this new guy, he's very attentive. He wants to know, like, well, how was your day? But on top of that, well, what did you do today? And who did you see? And who did you talk to? And what did y'all talk about? And early on in dating, that trait can seem appealing. Oh, he's so attentive. He's so into me. But when you multiply that times 10, you got a controlling bastard. Look, that looks like in the future is, who is that talking to you? Why he look at you? What men did you talk to at work? Who'd you have lunch with? And so when I'm trying to help people to break this cycle, I tell them, be careful, because that type that you're attracted to, you need to imagine what it's going to be like times 10. Or that man who wants the woman who makes him feel like he's the center of her whole world and places him on that pedestal. Well, let's take that times 10, and you have someone who is bordering on being obsessive and insecure and, constantly accusing him of cheating and this and that and this and that. These
So
traits.
I might be on the opposite end of that spectrum
How is
because
that?
my my philosophy is if I have to cheat on you, I don't need to be with you. That's one. Two, my schedule's too busy to stalk you. So if you're not there on the third Thursday of the fifth year at 5:15, that was your opportunity to be stalked. And the whole thing being concerned about, I don't care where you go. I'm concerned with safety. That's the extent of it. But if you give me reasons not to trust you, then I don't need to be with you. I don't have time to worry about you cheating. I don't have time to worry about your whereabouts. If I'm insecure with that, then I need to just move on. And that's kind of how I am.
Well, and you're coming from the perspective though of a healthy male. And
Mentally
so
healthy.
that's, would you say, LV?
He's mentally
Mentally,
healthy, but the people that have those problems, all they chairs ain't quite round the table. That's a couple of them sitting out back over there. You know how when you play cards, you only need four around the table, and then you got people kind of
right?
sitting on the side, kind of waiting to hop in. Them people, them chicks, like that dude that was wanting to know all that stuff already. See, he got a gang of chairs just sitting out around the goddamn table. That shit's crazy.
Right.
That's a red flag.
But
Right.
some people say they like a little crazy.
You're
And ain't
right.
nothing
Well,
wrong with
And I'm not
crazy. In context, let's take
not one of them.
context though.
which
See, things of that
I
nature is
don't
a
I don't know
red
what the
flag.
context is, bro.
I'm just saying. That would be a red flag there that you would say if you've been through an experience with people and like, okay, the last one did that. He wanted to know all this stuff early, and this is how it ended. Okay, here this fool go with that. Oh, red flag. beep, 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 beep.
Right. Yeah, because Coleman, what you're basically saying goes back to what Johnny Quick and LV was saying. It's about a person's type. If a person has that type, ooh, I like a little crazy. They have to realize though, the amount of crazy you getting early on, once a person gets comfortable in the relationship and they feel like they got you on the hook real good and they let out all their full blown crazy, that's more crazy than what the person wanted.
Because they only let you meet their representative in the beginning.
Right.
The representative only had a little crazy. And then once they reeled you in, that's when they took off the mask.
I'm waiting on Coleman to show up with this answer.
Well, no, I'm thinking. Crazy. I mean, because it's also a matter of learning who the family is. Because I remember my father telling me, he's like, "Dude, you think you dating her? How many people you think in a relationship?" I was like, "It's just me and her. We kicking it." He was like, "Nah, dog. It's like it's her and her parents and her grandparents." He's like, "She got a lot of voices in her head that you don't even know anything about." Friends, you have all these things. So when the same thing situation and something happens, the voices in my head, my daddy, my sisters, my uncles are talking to me. Well, the people in her head are saying something totally different. So it's about exploring families. It's about exploring that person, which comes back to one of the things that we talked about last week when we talked about love language. So if you take sex out of the relationship, right? Do you now get to know the person better? Do you now get an idea their cray a little bit clear because you don't have these physical components that are now clouding the picture? So I believe, I mean, I agree with you all to a degree about think that you have to make an individual decision because you're still the common denominator in all of these relationships. So when I look around and I'm like, man, I'm dating crazy after crazy after crazy, at some point I got to look in the mirror and be like, am I crazy or do I just like crazy? Because
or do I attract crazy
around something that you're not in, that you're not a part of?
That means you like crazy, but you also have to realize how crazy is too crazy. Red flag. You have to start eliminating. You have to dilute the pond. See, that's where you make the change. Because you're right. You have to make the change. If you just run through that red light knowing damn well that motherfucker was red, you went through that bitch at 45. That shit wasn't yellow. That's on you when they pull you over for running the street and being over the speed limit. And that's when that cray really come out and you like, damn, she done threw my mama ashes in the motherfucking lake.
But here's the thing. I hear what Coleman is saying.
Like you said, you have to make the change. You have to realize that in yourself. And see, it took me 2 in to really realize it. And because trust me, I've come across some others that fell in line, but then I was like, oh, I seen this before. Okay, you know what?
And see, that was the Mount case. What about the crazy with the lady who caught her boyfriend treating and ran him over 3 times with the car and killed him?
I don't know.
That's a lot of crazy.
I need more information on who made who crazy, because maybe he was just that dude. But that was extreme. She made sure that nigga was dead. She didn't want it to be no indecisions. When I get out this bitch, he ain't breathing no more. I bet another bitch won't get it. I was like, oh,
yeah.
All the views spoken are not the opinion of everyone on this panel.
That is an example of early in the relationship, as Coleman was saying, some people like a little crazy. He probably had no idea that her crazy times 10 would land him up under her car.
Now he didn't.
And here's something to think about. because Coleman, you mentioned common denominator. And in taking a look at that, people do have to step back and say, what is it about me that I want a little crazy? What is it about me that I need someone who is so attentive and needs to know every single minute of my day in our absence? Because in addressing that in therapy, that is about insecurities to the point that you need that level of attention. Or, for example, the woman whose kids had been molested by her 2 previous boyfriends, one of the things that she ended up coming to the realization of is that she was looking for a man who was okay with a woman who had kids, a man who was okay with raising another man's kids, a man who presented as if he had a deep love and affection for kids. Now, what I had to explain to her, because I've done years of sex offender therapy also, is that a pedophile is only dating a woman to get to her kids. So when they started their courtship, she was so blinded by him being interested in her kids that she didn't realize that he was more interested in her kids than in her. Pedophiles date women to get to their kids. And the women who are the most vulnerable are the women who feel like they need a man to help them raise their kids, who feel like, I can't do this on my own and I need a man and I need somebody who's going to love and accept my kids. His version of accepting her kids was molesting them. And so people do have to look at that common denominator. It's not only about identifying the traits that these people share, their commonalities in your previous relationships, but also asking yourself, what leads me to these people? Why? What is it about me that I need these particular traits, these particular people?
Well, one thing that you run across also is some people identify those traits with love. So if this guy is not asking me where I'm going, guy or lady, is not asking me where I'm going, who I'm talking to, and attending to everything you do, they think that person doesn't love them, where they don't recognize what a healthy relationship should be. It's like, well, he should be asking me all these questions. Well, no, I trust you, and you should be all right with me being okay. You give me up, I'm good with that. But sometimes people don't identify that healthy side.
Well, and that could be a piece of. Let me back up real quick. That damn conversation escalated quick as shit. We was talking about liking a little bit of crazy, and Gerald ended up on pedophilia. I was like, oh my goodness, that escalated quick.
It's deep.
Yeah, clutch my pearls. Getting back to what John was saying. I mean, it's very interesting because, like, before we were talking about like cheating, right? And I said that I was a serial cheater. It was very interesting because I was cheating by referral. Most that I was dealing with knew the person I was dating, and it was like I heard I was cheating by referral. So now you think about it, a lot of the crazy, most people don't get too far from their circle when they start dealing with these new women. They're not too far from their circle. Every once in a while you meet somebody new, but a lot of people are in that same crowd. You know what I mean? So when they say they attract the same type of people, yeah, because you hang around the same type of crazy most of the time. But yeah, I was cheating by referral. But again, yeah. But again, I'm reformed.
Thank goodness, because you've been married 100 years.
Yeah, I sure have. Yeah, and she might shoot at me if she thought I was cheating. So,
all right, fellas. I think
it's not because she's crazy either. So.
No, she's not crazy.
She's a love.
She is
Hey,
absolutely.
she's one of my closest friends. She good people. She put me in check too.
She
I
do it for
barely
me.
got away from her a couple weeks ago. She was about to grill the fuck out of me. I got saved by the bell, boy. I was like, ooh, I was sweating shit. And he was just sitting there grinning. Like,
Because I
okay,
knew she turned and said, now LV, I was like, oh my goodness. When you get that now, before the rest of the sentence, it's trouble, dog.
Yeah. She ain't no joke.
And I was gonna have to take it.
Right. All right, fellas. I think we're good for today. Are we good on this for today? Is there anything else y'all want to add to today's perspective topic?
Well, I'd just like to tell our fans, our subscribers, to like, share, subscribe to our channel. Various topics, suggest topics for us to talk about. Next Wednesday, you don't want to miss the Grown Man Experience and that classic. It will be a classic.
Johnny Quick is bringing the Grown Man Experience next week. Yes, we don't want y'all to miss any of that. All right. And yes, please like and share. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And God bless. Good night.
Love you, brothers.